We are now joined by Mr. Stephen Sackur. Mr. Sackur is presenter of BBC HARDtalk. Thank you very much for granting us some of your time. Mr. Sackur, you were the first to report Iraq's mass graves of victims of the regime. How do you motivate yourself to go out on the streets trying to reveal the truth day after day? Have there been moments in your career where you have been stripped of your courage after witnessing bitter reality?
Well, my job for many years was to be a reporter, often in very difficult places, in conflict zones, reporting on wars, and you don't sign up for that. You don't go into that sort of reporting unless you are prepared to take some risk. There is no question there is some risk involved. You try to do everything in your power to minimize the risk. You think very carefully before you embark on those sorts of reporting assignments. But in the end, I was absolutely determined to pursue my reporting career. I wanted to be in places that seemed to me to be hugely important in terms of reporting conflict, telling the world the truth about what was going on in some of the most difficult places. And for me, yes, there was concern about my own safety, but there was also a fierce commitment to get the story. And if you're talking about covering Iraq during the war and after the war, that story was very close to my heart for all sorts of reasons. But I didn't regret for one moment being involved, and it seemed to me, and still feels to me, that it was a very important piece of reporting to do.
Is there anyone you would like to interview on your show, BBC HARDtalk, you haven't had yet as a guest?
Now, there are all sorts of guests that I dream about getting onto the show who haven't either appeared or have refused to appear. You can start at the very top. The President of the United States, Barack Obama, is unlikely to do HARDtalk. Interviews with presidents of the United States are very difficult to get for overseas media, even for the BBC. And to do a half-hour interview with HARDtalk, I think Mr. Obama probably would not put that at the top of his list. So that probably won't happen. I've always wanted to interview Hillary Clinton. I did interview her many years ago when I was a Washington reporter, but I'd love to have her back on the show. And there's one other name I'll give you, the president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, who is now, shall we say, an older man. He's been in power for so long. There are so many important questions to ask him about the way that he has led Zimbabwe, issues which get to the heart of Africa's past, present and future. I would love to have him on the show. Whether he wants to be on the show is another matter.
Mr. Sackur, one final question. As a British citizen, how do you judge the growing Euroscepticism in your country? What needs to be done in order to close the gap between the British Isle and continental Europe?
Well, I'm not sure that Euroscepticism in my country is new. It is sort of an ever-present reality in British politics that a substantial chunk of the British population is very sceptical about the benefits of the European Union. At a time when we see crisis in the Eurozone, we see the European economy lagging behind other regional economies, I think the British people are probably a little more sceptical than they usually are about the benefits of Europe. And there, of course, is associated with that just a sense of general frustration and anger with the political establishment, which can also take the form of anti-Europeanism. It is quite possible that we are going to have a referendum in the UK on our membership of the EU within the next 3 years, 4 years. And when people are faced with that choice, yes or no to Europe, it will be very interesting to see if there is a majority to leave the European Union. I think it'll be very close, but in the end, I think those who want to stay in Europe still have a fighting chance of winning the argument.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sackur, for your time. Enjoy your stay at the 43rd St. Gallen Symposium. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be in St. Gallen. Thank you.
Sir.